everyone. Welcome to episode 27 of Brawling Pit, where we talk everything about Brawl, a standard legal commander format. I am one of your hosts, Johnathan Tang. Joining me in the line is Jacob.
Yo.
So, I don't want to waste any time. We're just going to jump right in, because this week we're doing Brawling Pit for Guilds of Ravnica. There are 12 commanders, 12 legendary creatures or planeswalkers for us
Only
to
12?
pitch against each other.
How many were there last set?
Last set there were a lot more,
Yeah.
because they have dual color ones, they have 3 color ones, and they have single color ones. This set, there are 2 from each guild, and the planeswalkers appear twice because they have their planeswalker decks. So 12 total, which should make our time a little bit easier. But still, I don't want to waste any time, and I want to jump right in. The bracket will be posted in the show notes, and you can check it out if you want to.
I'm actually really excited because I've seen some of the spoilers, but I've tried my hardest to not look at as many as I can. So when we go through these, I'm gonna be honestly probably excited, and then honestly a little disappointed. I mean, that happens every set, Not every card can be a perfect 10 out of 10. I'm really looking forward to seeing, all the surprises and curveballs we get thrown our way, though.
Oh, exactly. There are a lot of good cards, and there are also some questionable cards, and we'll be looking at all of them in this week and next week. This week we'll be looking at all the legendary ones, and next week we'll be looking at all the a lot of the non-legendary ones. I don't want to say all of them because there's a lot of cards. But let's jump right in.
Do we have to always jump in? Can I just
Well, it is kind of a pit, so it's hard to just walk in.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, the first pair of challengers. On my end, I have Lazaf the Multifarious. He's a blue-black for 1/3 legendary shapeshifter creature. When Lazaf enters the battlefield, surveil 1. So, for those of you who don't remember, just look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard, or you can just leave it up top. It also has the ability of paying X and have Lazaf become a copy of target creature cards in your graveyard with convertment cost X. Except its name is Lazaf, the Multifarious. It's still legendary in addition to its other types, and it has this ability. What do you think of our first Guildmaster from Demir?
This is interesting. It passes the vanilla test. I mean, that's cool, but obviously, the floor is really low. The floor it's a 1/3,
Well,
but
the floor is 1/3 that surveils for you.
Right, but on the other hand, if you have the right synergy, and I don't know what synergy that would be in blue black, but if you are able to fill your graveyard with enough value creatures, I think this guy could be pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know how good he will be on his own as a Brawl commander. In our format, there are not that many blue-black creatures that's good for copying. A lot of cards that really enter the battlefield. And this doesn't trigger those.
Yeah, it doesn't trigger those.
Yeah,
and you want creatures with good static abilities. I mean, I guess it's okay value. Actually, depending on the death trigger, it's probably still good value, but that means you have to play this guy again. So you could use it to copy something in your graveyard with a really good death trigger, or leave the battlefield trigger. But I think optimally you'll want something with a nice static ability.
Right. So I can see this actually being really good, not as a blue-black commander by himself.
Right.
Because, well, number one, blue-black, I think in our format, it's not really good for a creature-based strategy. And this is clearly steering you towards that direction, right? It wants you to play creatures in your graveyard.
And also, especially how it's steering you into a creature-based plan, and blue-black isn't exactly the strongest at it. I'm sure there are plenty of strategies, but might not be the most optimal. And also, like, mulching is kind of where Lazab is pointing to.
So what
And
is mulching?
so mulch was like an old green card. It was one in the green, and I can't remember if it was top 4 or top 5. I'm pretty sure it was the top 5. You put the top 5 cards from your library into your graveyard. That's it. Sorcery speed. And another recent example of this, and that was actually in Return to Ravnica, as a common, was green black, and it was Grizzly Salvage. So, and then an even later version after that, which I would probably say was one of the better ones, if not the best, was Satyr Wayfinder. And that guy lets you pull a land from whatever you pulled put that in your hand, and then put the rest in the graveyard. So, um, typically that's like a green black effect. So blue black, even though they have surveil, they still might have a hard time filling their graveyard with key things.
Yeah, so that actually dials back to the number 2 that I wanted to talk about. Like I mentioned, number 1, this is steering you towards a creature strategy. Number 2, I feel that this card will be really good in the Modrotha deck, where in Modrotha you naturally have a lot of good stuff in your graveyard and a lot of creatures that will bring value. I think one of the most backbreaking thing for your opponents to experience is you put Modrotha into your graveyard, and then you have Lazaf on the battlefield, use it to copy Modrotha,
That
and
would
then
be
you use that to bring back
amazing.
Modrotha.
That would be amazing, because now you don't have to worry about playing around a counter spell, because the stifle effect is leaving.
Right, exactly. And that's one thing that this card is really good at is for it plays around counter spells, because this is an ability that cannot be countered, no longer be countered when Disallow and the Cycle Bird is no longer in our format. I think that's really good.
I
Given
mean,
given that,
you still have to play around removal, but like you'd have to play around removal with any other creatures anyway. But
yeah,
you know,
given that, I feel like it's not as good a commander as it might be. I mean, like we could be wrong.
yeah.
There could be a good blue black strategy that comes out with the set, but it feels like
Anything,
that it will be much better in the 59.
yeah. I look forward to see the strategies that people put forth with this card. I'm sure someone will do it, but in the context of our show, anything can happen in the Brawling Pit.
Right. I think one funny use case of this card actually is you can copy the House Guild Mage and use the Guild Mage abilities. So the House Guild Mage is a blue black for a human wizard that's 2/2. You can pay 1 and a blue to tap and say target creature doesn't untap during its control 6 untap step. And you can also do 2 and a black and tap to surveil 2. Essentially, you can keep on going with the surveil plan to try to get into the good creature plan. Still, I don't know what you're going to copy.
We'll see.
We'll see. There are some interesting things you can do. One thing that I do want to bring up is the ability cost is X. So it goes around the usual color restriction. So if you have something that's like blue, blue, black, black, now you just need to pay 4 for whatever. So that's kind of an upside. But I don't know if that upside is enough for us to justify this being a really good commander. But I guess we'll have to see which commander is going against in our opposing corner.
So I've got Vraska over in my corner, and Vraska is typically a good planeswalker. This one is Vraska Regal Gorgon, 5 black green for 7 CMC, with 5 loyalty counters. And a +2 lets you put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It doesn't have to be one you control, so you can help someone out. And that creature gets menace till end of turn. So this lets you kind of like, get a little aggressive with a creature. And it helps Vraska kind of protect herself, because she can go up to 7 loyalty counters on the first turn she comes down, which is great. On her -3, she can destroy a creature. And on her -10, for each creature card in your graveyard, you get to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. That's it. So, Vraska, I think it's solid. I'm not like a huge fan of her ult, but I think her -3 is solid, and her and her +2 fosters like an aggressive strategy and helps her, like beef herself up. So I think this is an okay Vraska, maybe kind of strong, but definitely not the strongest Vraska version we've seen.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So, if I do remember correctly, this is the Planeswalker deck version. So she also comes with the upside of being able to buff the Planeswalker deck creatures. I mean, the other Vraska would also be able to do that. For example, if your Vraska somehow get tucked, and if you don't want to put in your command zone, now your Planeswalker deck creatures can fetch your Vraska back out for you.
Yep.
Which is pretty nice. What I don't like about this card is a 7-drop.
Yeah, it's kind of expensive for what she does.
Right. In a green-black strategy, you might be able to hold up until you get your 7th land out, but I don't know whether or not putting her out will change the game. I mean, being able to ult when you have a ton of creatures is really nice.
Yeah.
If you have for example, Slimefoot in your 59, and Slimefoot has made a crap ton of saplings for you. Now all of them are big, right? And that's
Yeah.
great. That's great. But how often is it going to happen? We don't know.
I would realistically, I'd probably lean towards like basically never. I think Vraska, like the -10, her ultimate has such a high cost in that. Well, you need 7 mana just to play Vraska. Then you need to tick her up 3 times, and then after that, finally you can -10. But on top of all these costs so far and all these turns you've had to invest, you now need a graveyard with some amount of creatures in it. So
Yeah, so
I don't know. I'm not, and then you need a board for that to happen too. So
right, exactly.
I'm not really a huge fan of this ultimate. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, the upside about this card is that it does protect itself by destroying a creature, which is great. It just straight out destroys someone's commander.
Oh yeah.
Including Lazav, unless he copies something that has hexproof. But
yeah, that'd be awkward.
I don't know. Like I think between these two planeswalkers, right?
I'd have to go with Vraska.
You do? I'm leaning towards Lazav because of 2 mana, and you just get your game plan on so much earlier.
That is true, but I don't know how good Lazav's game plan is going to be in just blue-black.
This is a use case that I haven't really thought of when we were talking about Lazav. Is you can activate the ability in response to no blocks. So, for example, if you have creatures in your graveyard that has the on hits effect, so whenever this creature deals combat damage to player effect, and those are usually in blue-black. Now you can, in response to no block, you can copy one of those, and your opponent will never know which one you're copying, which might or might not be a good thing.
I think that's like it sounds like a really niche strategy. I feel like I don't think that situation is gonna come up very often, if ever, where that could like realistically be used to gain a tangible advantage. Because like if your opponent is in a situation where they are able to block Lazav, but everything's on the board too. Like the graveyard, public information, how much mana you have, public information.
Yeah, if they block it, then you just copy something bigger.
Right. So, like that, but like that's not gonna come as a surprise. So that I think they could like realistically plan like, well, if I don't block, then they can just eat my creature and I don't get anything back. So they could be like, okay, I guess I'm not blocking. And if you don't block, like, well, I'm taking this like they probably could just plan on taking the damage anyways. Like it's not like it's not gonna come like as a surprise, like a wrench in their plans. Like they should be able to like foresee it pretty easily.
Okay.
I don't know. Those are just my 2 cents. And blue-black by itself, I'm not a huge fan of the color pair compared to green-black. And even though, yeah, blue-black does have Surveil, I don't know how consistently you can activate Surveil such that it would be better than like Vraska. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest fan of this Vraska either, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
All right. All right.
I don't know. What what do you think about that though?
I respect everything you're saying. I think even though the whole Ravnica set has been spoiled, I think there's something that we're not seeing with this and stuff.
Oh, easily.
I'm convinced that there are something hidden between the lines that we're not seeing. Like, what kind of trickery can we concoct out of the copying effect? So
Well, like what would
I
be
don't really want to rule it out right now.
yeah. Well, like
But
what do you think would be good in blue black? Like so let's assume that you can consistently fill your graveyard. Even though I'm not even sure if I would even really give that to just a Lazav player. Like if they had Lazav as their commander, I don't even know if I would respect that they would be able to fill their graveyard quickly, and consistently. But like let's even assume that. So like what would you get? You know, would you just like fill your graveyard with like big fat dudes and then by like turn 9 or whatever you just like copy a big dude?
you can either do that or I think the way I would play that deck is just copy a lot of good value like on the board creatures.
Yeah, but
For
that's what I'm asking. Like
example,
what would that be? Because I don't know. Like I can't think of any
for
examples.
example, the Bond Dean of Iteration,
Uh huh.
if you guys remember, is 1 on a blue for a 2/1. If a wizard enters the battlefield under your control, causes a trigger ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Now, if you have Naban in the graveyard already, and if you reanimate Naban because you're in black, you can do that. Now you reanimate Naban, and all of a sudden, you have basically 2 Paradox engines on a battlefield for wizards entering the battlefield.
I like that.
And
That
yeah,
sounds really good.
yeah. And the bond's only 2 drops. So
Right. That
that
can
is
happen pretty
not a tough
quickly.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that
can
is
easily
not a
happen.
hard plan.
Yeah.
And I can see plenty of tricks like that.
That does sound pretty good. You
Yeah.
know, double paradox engine for wizard triggers. How good are wizard triggers now?
Wizard's triggers are they're alright. The most notable Wizard's trigger is probably the Rumeha. 2 blue for a 3/3 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the
Oh, the
copy.
forking?
Yeah, the forking, and if you cast, for example, Torment of Hailfire for a crap ton of mana, so I think even if like X equals 4, it will be devastating because now if you cast Nerumeha, you're copying that twice. So everyone needs to choose between this 12 times, sack a permanent, take 3 damage, or discard a card. That's devastating.
Yeah, I think that I don't know how I could consistently pull that off, but that sounds really awesome though, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
or if you cast Karn's Temporal Sundering and then you now flash in Narumeha to fork it twice, now you are taking 3 extra turns and you get to bounce, 3 things.
Wow. Hmm.
Pretty good.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah, I can see a lot of combo potentials with Lazav that I cannot see with Vraska. I think
Yeah,
Vraska is just a
I don't think
general good
Vraska, I'm
thing.
not seeing besides the whole like overrun strategy, I don't think Vraska really like combos or synergize or anything. I think she's just like a meh planeswalker. I don't know though. Like this is this is a tough one for me to evaluate because I absolutely agree that Lazov's ceiling is way higher, but Lazov's floor is also way lower. So I don't know. I'm kind of like torn between the two. Like before, I was like, yeah, I don't think Lazov is like that good. But you convinced me that now I think Lazov might like I'm not as easily um like set on one side now. I'm it's kind of like a coin flip for me.
Okay, so
Mhm.
do you want to do the honors?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we'll do a coin flip here. Yeah, you convinced me. Okay. Heads Lazov, tails Vraska.
All right.
All right. It looks like Lazov moves on.
Nazov moves on to continue with the bracket. That's awesome.
All right. Let's see how far he can take it, you know?
Yeah, let's see. The next pair I have Izoni Thousand Eyes. This is a 6-mana creature. 2 black, black, green, green for a 2/3 legendary elf shaman. Obviously, he passes the vanilla test
Oh, easily.
because he has a 6-drop 2/3.
Oh, yeah.
And he also has Undergrowth. When Izoni enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature card in your graveyard. It's really good when you have a lot of creature cards in your graveyard. It's not as good when you don't.
Yeah, and green-black is definitely the color pair to be in for having lots of creature cards in your graveyard.
Oh, absolutely. One of the best effects you can have in multiplayer format is sacrifice effects. You want sack outlets. So people can't gain control of your, for example, commander, or they can't, threaten your thing and use them, right? You can just sack them in response and you get the upside and their spell fizzles. And Izoni is a sack outlet on a stick because you can pay black green to sacrifice another creature to gain 1 life and draw a card.
The interesting thing is, while it might be obvious to most of us, you can sacrifice the tokens that it makes too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's great. Yeah.
It's great. It basically comes into the battlefield, makes a bunch of treasure tokens that can block, and you can sack them to draw a card and gain 1 life.
And if green-black has enough mulch effects, like on curve, on the way, like you might not even have to wait for late game on this guy. You might just be able to like play it on turn 6 and generate a ginormous board.
Oh yeah, but still, this is much much better in late game than in early game. I don't think you can even cast in early game, but once you are on turn 6,
Yeah.
you should be able to consistently drop it on turn 6 and get some value out of it.
Yeah, hopefully.
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 What I don't like about this card is it's kind of weak being a 2/3. On turn 6, most of the time people will have ways to deal with a 2/3. So I'm not quite sure about that. Whether or not people will be able to deal with the 1/1s it creates, that's another question, right? If you have 20 creatures in your graveyard, now he is basically a 22/23 for 6 that sticks really hard on the board.
Yeah.
But it's also really weak to graveyard hate. So they can, in response to Izani being cast, they can just exile your whole graveyard and you're just sad.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing.
Right.
One thing that I would like to point out, though, is even if they exile the graveyard, you can respond to the trigger after he comes in and sacrifice another creature.
Really? No.
Yeah, so if they choose to respond to Izoni and not his trigger, then
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So that's a pro tip if you find yourself against Izoni. You might want to respond to the trigger and not Izoni himself.
Oh, you mean they can respond to the undergrowth trigger?
Right, yeah. So because for example, if an opponent were to make a mistake and respond to Izoni and exile the yard, but you have things on your board that you'd like to sacrifice, you can let them exile your yard. I mean, not like you have a choice, anyways.
Izoni will be on the stack.
Yeah,
when
he won't be on the
he
won't be on the battlefield yet. And then you let the exile resolve. Now Izoni resolves. The undergrowth trigger goes on the stack, and in response to that, you can sacrifice all the things that you wanted, and now you have some stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah. Okay,
you'll still get
yeah.
some value, but I mean, your yard was still exiled, so
yeah. I think it's interesting. I think people usually will not do it in response of the undergrowth trigger, but that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's your pro tip from listening to this. That's your pro tip.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't think I would ever even think of responding to undergrowth because it just sounds so bad. But okay. What is he up against?
Yeah, so Izoni is up against Ral Zarek. And well, Ral Zarek is his full name, according to the lore anyways. But this Ral, his card name is actually Ral Izet Viceroy. He's a 5-mana planeswalker, and he gets 5 loyalty counters. That passes the vanilla test for a planeswalker if I've ever seen one.
3 blue red.
Yep. And on his +1, you get to look at the top 2 of your library, and you get to put one in your hand and the other in your graveyard. So, I mean, he can dig. That's pretty cool. On his -3...
Dig 2.
Yeah, he gets to dig 2.
That's really good.
On his -3, he will deal damage to a creature equal to the total number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard or in exile. So, even if your graveyard gets exiled, Brawl can still deal an incredible amount of damage. And his ultimate is you get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant sorcery, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target and you draw 2 cards. That's his -8, by the way. So
Yeah.
if you're able to get to his -8, I think this emblem is going to close out any game you're in very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so easy to hit it because you naturally already want to do the +1 because you just get so much card advantage, right? We talked about card advantage a couple weeks ago, and the +1 is a perfect example of it giving you really good card advantage in both the qualitative sense and quantitative sense. And this goes through your deck so quickly, puts a lot of cards in your graveyard, and it number one, it also fuels the jumpstart mechanic, which are on sorcery and instants. So I think this is just like a best all around planeswalker, like everything
Yeah.
blue red wants to do in the
Yep.
counter burn
I
strategy.
agree. Yeah, and this is like flavor judge over here. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, really, really powerful planeswalker. I don't really see any faults on this guy. I think this will be like the new Teferi status. Just looks so good.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way, like, I don't see a way for us to say this card is bad. Like, I can't even nitpick this card. This is just so perfect.
Well, I can nitpick this card. I can.
Okay.
So, I think the fact that it's blue-red and doesn't have white or another color with hard removal is probably its greatest weakness. But, like, that's like a wizard's intended weakness, though. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like this card is weak. It's more like, well, you know, given the color profiles and what they decide what each color should be strong and weak against, like, that's just red's inherent weakness. I don't even think that's a fault in itself of Ral. No.
Right.
Yeah. That's like, I even then I think that's like really, I think it's kind of reaching a little bit, but it's still, I think it's still legitimate though. You know, like, that would be the only thing stopping it from, like, replacing it in all formats Teferi, is that it's not white. Or
Right.
black.
It's not white.
Or
But,
black, or you know, whatever.
I think blue red is still perfectly strong. And with our format, he will both be a good commander and in the 59. You can just do everything spell related.
I love this guy. This Ral is really strong. I would say, all right, as much as we all love coin flipping, as you can tell how much we love coin flipping because of how many matches get decided with a coin flip, this Ral I think blows the other Ral out of the water.
Yeah, there's no coin flipping here.
Yeah.
That is not a joke because of all Rao's direct lives. I love coin flipping. I think Rao just straight up crushes Izoni.
Oh, me
in
too.
matchup.
I agree. You know, even though Izoni has the potential to be really good, like Izoni got a low roll on like, you know, getting matched against one of the favorites to win this. So
Yeah, this is not even a contest. So
yeah, Ral is so good.
Yeah, Rao's so good. Let's move on to the next match. On my corner, I get another blue-black creature.
Ooh.
Errata, the Silencer. She is a 3/5 for 2 blue-black. Passes the vanilla test big time.
Oh yeah.
Legendary vampire.
Actually.
Yeah. Legendary vampire assassin creature. Errata, the Silencer, can't be blocked. Oh, it's getting better. I wonder what the downside is. Whenever Errata deals combat damage, whenever Errata deals combat damage to a player, exile target creature that player controls and put a hit counter on that card. That player loses the game if they owns 3 or more exile card with the hit counter on them. Atrata's owner shuffle Atrata into their library. Oh, okay. So that's the catch.
So before we say anything, I'm doing this. This is for me. Opportunity missed by Wizards. They could have easily called this Errata the Silencer.
They could have. They could have called it Errata the Silencer. It would be so good.
Opportunity missed.
I'm gonna call this card Errata for the whole time.
I'm calling this from henceforth. We are calling this Errata the Silencer.
Yep. So I don't know how good errata can be because of the shuffling thing. Obviously, you can move it to the command zone.
Yep.
But it gets progressively more expensive the next time. Each time you cast her.
Yeah. That command tax is gonna add up.
Right. And in a multiplayer game, especially, that gets expensive.
Oh yeah.
I can see that this card being good if we can break the ability. So, for example, if you have Strong Nate Resonator kind of thing getting reprinted, this can be really good, right?
Yeah, if you could somehow create like a favorable, I don't even want to say perfect, like a favorable enough situation where you could turn this into like a one-shot mechanic, that'd be great.
Yeah. Which this can easily be done in EDH Commander because you can just copy the trigger ability twice, and then someone's dead.
Yep. But
and that's so easy in that format.
Yeah, but we don't. Unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of those same tools, so that kind of sucks.
I think as of now, as of the state of right now, this card may not be that good in Brawl.
Yeah.
I can see it possibly being synergized with Lazav.
Ooh.
Maybe Lazav can copy errata from the graveyard.
Well, the thing that sucks though is then Lazav is gonna inherit the shuffling.
But the card says errata's owner shuffles errata into the library.
But you're copying. But well, wait, hold on. So does Lazav?
Lazav's name is still Lazav after copying.
Yeah, no. I hate to burst your bubble, but I think you're. Unfortunately, I think you're wrong. I think errata would have. Well, I guess Lazav copying errata is gonna have to shuffle itself because of Rule 201.4. I'm a judge nerd, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So, basically, text that refers to the object it's on by name means just that particular object. So even though it does have a different name, it's really just referring to the card itself. So.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunate. No, but that'll be really cool though. Like that'll be so broken, you know?
Yeah. It would be really broken. But okay, I guess not.
Yeah. Darn it, Wizards. You had a chance.
Yeah. You have two opportunity lost with this one card.
2 opportunities. Wait, but it's not too late. They could still errata this card to make it so that
they can still errata, yeah, make it good.
And then they could errata Atrata to name her errata.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep our fingers crossed. But who is errata going against?
Errata is up against Amara, Soul of the Accord. The good Amara. There are 2 Amaras. One of them's not so good, and one of them's pretty good. And we've actually talked about this Amara before, but just as a reminder.
We talked about this in depth, yeah.
Yeah, just as a reminder though, Amara is a 2 CMC Legendary Elf Cleric, and it costs green-white for a 2/2. Whenever she becomes tapped, you get to make a 1/1 White Soldier token with lifelink.
Dude, Convoke is really good.
Yeah. So, Amara looks pretty strong here. I'm gonna get right to the point. I think Amara will win this fight.
Yeah, Amara absolutely wins this fight. I think the only way for errata to have a chance is if the name is actually errata. And seeing that the name is not actually errata, I think Amara wins as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it to errata.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amara. I'm gonna errata my statement to Amara. With that out of the way, next up I have Nif Mizzet, Perun.
Another one?
Yeah, well, the third one.
The third Nif Mizzet.
Yeah, 6 CMC for 5/5. Legendary Dragon Wizard. This is interesting because the convert mana cost is 6, but the casting cost is blue, red.
Oh my god.
I don't know if it can be more meme enough. Like, this is just like so hard to cast.
Do you think they could have made this any more difficult to cast?
I think they can. They can like add a blue and add a red.
Oh no!
To it. But,
don't give me any ideas.
But I'm going to talk about what the card does. It says this spell can't be countered.
Okay, that's a good start.
It's pretty good. It has flying.
All right.
Why wouldn't it be? Like, it's not like its wings got chopped off or something.
I mean, they might have. It's been a while since we've been to Ravnica.
And whenever you draw a card, Nif Mizzet Karun deals 1 damage to any target. Anyway.
All right. Okay.
All right. And whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery, you draw a card.
That is
Any
nuts.
player.
That is nuts.
That's absolutely crazy. So anyone casting instants or sorcery spells will let you draw a card, and you can ping someone with that card draw. Dude.
That is nuts.
Uh-huh. In the Nicol Bola stat, you can have Lazav copy this.
Oh my goodness. You know, I think this card has 2 downsides. It dies to Doomblade.
It dies to Doomblade.
And its mana cost is absolutely the ugliest, most atrocious thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I want to clarify it. I don't think any one of our creatures don't die to Doomblade, and on this list we will be talking about today, except the ones that are black. And I don't think anyone has hexproof. So
yeah.
Alright.
I've got another Ral. So many Rals. This is a different Ral though. Of questionable quality too. This is Ral Caller of Storms. 6 mana Planeswalker for 4 loyalty counters. 4 blue-red.
Okay.
Alright. Now remember, he only has 4 loyalty counters when he comes in. +1. Now, just a reminder, the last Ral was 5 for 5. 5 CMC for 5 loyalty counters, and we thought his abilities were like they weren't over the top broken. Well, I mean, maybe the ultimate was, but like they were good. They were strong abilities. You know? All right.
Yeah.
+1, draw a card. Full stop.
Wait, anything else?
No, that's it. Full stop.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. -2. Ral deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. So if you remember the card Arc Lightning, that card that got reprinted a million times in the core sets, Arc Lightning. I think
6 mana Arc Lightning and 6 mana draw 6 mana cycle.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, let's hope the ultimate is good.
Yeah, this ult better be something like knocking out of the ballpark, you know? Alright. -7. Okay. So on turn 6, then you have to +++, and then you get the ult, but then Ral dies. Assuming no damage was dealt, you know? Okay, -7. Draw 7. Ral deals 7 damage to each creature your opponents control. I'm not feeling it,
I don't know, man. I don't feel this card.
Yeah,
you know what this card is really good at? Like, I don't think this card makes the cut as being its own commander.
Yeah.
But I think this definitely goes into the first card of the 59 of Niv-Mizzet. Like, that's the first card I'm adding to the Niv-Mizzet deck.
Yeah. I gotta give it to Niv-Mizzet. I have to give it to Niv-Mizzet.
I'm gonna give it to Niv-Mizzet too. Especially the fact that Niv-Mizzet can make use of Ral.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's hilarious.
Hold on. This is a thought experiment I'd like to throw out. If there was no other Ral, do you think that we would evaluate this Ral a little differently?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it would beat Niv-Mizzet, even if the other Ral didn't exist.
Yeah, I think this Ral is just not that good.
Yeah. I mean, Planeswalker is a Planeswalker, but
yeah, it's a Planeswalker. I don't think it's not that good as his commander. I think it's not that good as his commander, but I think it's really good as the 59 of Niv-Mizzet. I just want to throw it out there.
Oh yeah.
If you manage to ult it with Niv-Mizzet on the board, now you're dealing 14.
A lot of things had to go wrong for that to happen. Like many things had to go wrong for your opponents for several turns. If that happened.
Like you have been drawing a card with Ral for 3 turns, paying things as you like, and it's really hard for your opponents to just not see that, right? Especially after you kill like 4 of their things.
And any damage dealt to Ral costs you an entire extra turn.
Right. I mean, it does allow you to ping, so I guess it's not the end of the world.
It's not. It's not horrible, but I'm really not liking Ral as a commander. I think Niv-Mizzet takes it here.
Yeah. All right. So, we're moving on to the second round of bracket. Wow, we're moving on fast. It's not even an hour yet.
Wow.
So
That's good.
first round, right now we have Lazov, which is our combo master. He is going against Veraska, the other one. That's not his name though.
A Nebraska?
That's not her name though. Yeah, her name is actually Veraska Golgari Queen.
Ooh.
2 black green for a 4 loyalty planeswalker.
Oh, dude, another planeswalker that passes the vanilla test.
+2, you may sacrifice an other permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life and you draw a card.
All right.
-3, destroy target non-land permanent with confirmed mana cost 3 or less.
Okay.
-9, you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game.
Wow.
Just let's think back to the other Faraska that
I
Lasaf
don't want to think
beat
back
by
to
a
Nebraska.
coin flip.
I don't
Dude,
want to.
okay. I think comparing the -3s, the other Faraskas is better.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
straight better. But this one hits non-land permanents,
Yes.
not
And
creatures.
this one comes down 2 mana sooner.
And this one also draws you cards if you're sacking tokens.
I like this Raska.
Right?
I like this Raska.
If you have Yuzani out, you can sacrifice those bug creatures. If you manage to get to the ult, dude.
Oh my goodness. Dude, this Raska blows the other Raska way out of the water.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like this.
I mean,
I like this one.
Lazaf beats the other Veraska with a coin flip because they're so even.
Yeah,
I don't think we need a coin flip here.
Yeah, no, this Raska, that unfortunate, man. I think I was actually kind of interested in the Dark Horse Lazov, but I think Raska just wins this one.
I think this Veraska is actually really good with the aristocrat strategy because you get to sack something every turn now, and it triggers everything.
And
That's
the sad thing is, Lazov's converted mana cost on the board doesn't change, so Vraska could literally just eat Lazov.
Oh, absolutely. That's crazy.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, this Vraska's great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, so next up, we have, proceeding to round 2, we have Brawl. Is it Viceroy? Who is he up against?
He's up against Trostani Discordant.
Oh, that's a new Trostani.
Discordant is a 3 green-white 1/4 legendary dryad. Another Trostani. I always love me some Trostani.
Ooh.
She has the text. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. Okay, we're off to a good start there. That's usually a good effect.
And the token strategy, no less.
Yep. When she enters the battlefield, you get to make 2 1/1 white soldier tokens with lifelink. So.
Oh my gosh. So this is wow. So this is like a 5/9.
Yeah, 5/9 for 5.
5/9 for 5.
That's outstanding value. Like we could probably just stop here and we'd already say this is a decent card.
Pass this to vanilla test.
Yeah, we could just stop here. But wait, there's more.
Okay, what more?
At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. Not
Interesting.
Super relevant, but if there's ever, like mind control effects or, no, wait, basically that's it. Like mind control effects, this just does away with them. And in Brawl, this is the format where you're most likely going to see mind control effects.
Oh, absolutely.
So this card is pretty decent.
Yeah. I do have a just question for you here now.
All right, lay it on me.
So back in Dominaria, there was a card called Embolus's Clutches. It's a legendary enchantment aura for 6 mana. It says enchant permanent. You control enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent is legendary. Now, would Trostani allow you to get the enchanted permanent back when Embolus's Clutches is enchanting that permanent?
That's a level 2 question.
Yeah, it is a level 2 question, and in fact,
I don't know.
So I do know.
Oh, you do know? Because I don't know.
So, and I'm bringing it up because they are in the same standard, and
they are. Yes, they are.
It will happen.
Yep.
So this has been a question in the EDH community, and I find it crazy that it actually popped up in the context of Brawl. But people have already been discussing this with Homer Path, the land that allows you to gain all permanents back, and Control Magic, an enchantment that enchant something and they control the permanent. Turns out, in this case, Embolus's clutches will remain in play, but it will be behind a timestamp that says they have regained control of their creature,
Right.
and Embolus's clutches will just do nothing.
Okay.
So,
I think that's kind of what I was leaning towards, but I remember like being unsure about this one. So
yeah. So
that's interesting. Yeah, definitely is good to know.
And
man,
I think this card is busted.
This card is busted, and now I'm already starting to think like, do you want Amara as your commander or Trostani? Because they both fit the same strategies.
Oh, absolutely. I think Amara is really good to drop early, so I'm leaning towards playing Amara. But man, Trostani,
yeah,
5 mana for
both
5/9.
These effects are great. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I'm torn.
I'm torn as well. But if I'm building the green-white deck, I'm building a green-white deck because of these guys. So we just need to figure out now whether Trostani, we already know, is the token queen now.
Yep.
She's just so strong. Can she beat Brawl?
Man, why didn't this juicy matchup have to happen so soon?
Too soon.
Like, both these cards are so great, and it's really disappointing that one of these will be eliminated.
Yeah.
Man.
But unfortunately, one of these will have to be eliminated. I think Trostani actually wins the match here.
Do you think Trostani wins?
Oh, absolutely. Trostani being a creature strategy is just most of the time a lot stronger than the counter burn strategy, which doesn't affect the board.
I agree. And I feel like, nothing against Brawl. Actually, wait, this is against Brawl. I think Brawl's a great card. That's what I'm looking for. But, Brawl is just a reactive strategy. And,
oh, yeah.
And if there's nothing to react to, then, you're digging, but that's not affecting the board.
Yeah.
So,
Trostani is very proactive.
Yes. Very aggressive, too. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think Trostani would blow it out of the water, and blue-red will have a hard time dealing with green-white's massive board. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think Trostani wins this one. Yeah.
All right. So Trostani wins this match.
Disappointing.
We move on to the next pair. So of course the one who won already is Amara, which is the other busted green-white commander, so to speak. But she's up against, I think, a worthy opponent. And it's Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice. 2 red-white for a 2/5 legendary creature. That's an angel. Doesn't really pass the vanilla test, but let's go on. She has flying.
That's pretty good.
And she has mentor. So whenever this creature attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lower power. Now, you're thinking 2/5 with mentor. I don't know about that. Now, the other ability is at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1 target creature you control. Until end of turn, that creature gets +2/+0, gains trample if it's red, and gains vigilance if it's white.
This card is so busted. I can't even. You can target itself. This card is so dumb.
Yeah, and the turn it comes in, the +2/+0 basically has haste, so you can put on any other mentor creature to buff your guys up. And as we have already seen, from the spoilers, there are a lot of mentor creatures.
This is a slight technicality, but something that you should really be aware of. Okay, this trigger happens at the beginning of combat. Mentor triggers when you attack. So this is in time. This is in time to pump that creature with mentor on it to help it pump another creature. Oh my goodness, this Aurelia is nuts. It's way better than the other Aurelia.
Nuts. Yeah, so much better. I think Aurelia is a perfect commander for the red-white aggro strategy.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
I
This
think
is great.
I'll play this deck 10 out of 10.
You know,
Like,
and
this
honestly,
is a deck I would build.
that was the one thing I was worried about for red white Boros, like, and the mentor aggressive strategy was like they need a good commander, you know, like something to like lead the charge, have good staying power, really impact the board and deal some damage. They got what they needed. I think this Aurelia is awesome.
Absolutely. Something already have mentor, something that's high power, and something that flies.
Yep. Oh man.
With vigilance and trample.
With 5 health, that's going to be really hard to get rid of in combat.
This is really, really good.
Oh yeah.
Is it as good as Amara or even better? Amara is much better combo in a combo strategy.
Yeah.
It's a lot better when you have things to convoke out.
Yeah, like Amara, when you have things to convoke out and when you want to like build a wide board, but it's still pretty dependent on convoking.
Right, and it takes time.
It does take time.
In the Aurelia deck, by the time you can convoke out your 16/16, I think it's too late.
Oh yeah.
You're dead already.
Yeah, I agree.
You're already dead. You are already dead.
And I don't know, green typically has ways to deal with flyers, but usually those ways are like really bad. Like Plummet.
Yeah.
Like that's a sideboard card, but in Brawl you don't get a sideboard. So, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Aurelia wins this one because Aurelia is a much more proactive strategy.
No, I agree. Aurelia is just faster. Yeah, Amara's great, but Aurelia is just faster.
Right?
Yeah.
You have a turn 1 drop.
Yeah.
You have your 1 drop 1/1 flyer.
Yeah. No,
that
I
has
like
lifelink.
I like it.
In Boros, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dig it. I think Aurelia wins this one over Amara. Yeah.
Yeah. So
man, all these good matchups right away, right out of the gates.
Amazing creatures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Next
Happy
up,
to give that one to Aurelia. Yep.
Yeah. Next up, though, we have Niv-Mizzet that blew Browseric out of the water from the last round. But this round, he's going up against who exactly?
He's going up against Tajik, Legion's Edge. He is a 1 red-white 3/2 human soldier with haste. We're off to a good start for an aggressive creature with mentor. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control.
Oh wow,
not bad. And he has one more ability. You can pay red-white, and he gets first strike until end of turn.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this is another aggressive 3-drop. Or another aggressive red-white creature for that red-white Boros, get in there kind of deck.
Right. So we're not really comparing him with Aurelia just yet, but
not yet.
I think he might even be better than Aurelia because it protects your board from burn and fights.
I don't know about that, man. That's a bold claim.
It prevents all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control.
Yeah, but
so
like
any burn effects, any fight effects, now they don't happen. Now only the black and white, like directly destroy your things, will kill your board.
Yeah, only hard destroy effects will do it in combat damage. But
right,
I don't know, man. If it's just burn, like
and fight.
And fight, you're right, and fights. Effects. Are there a lot of fights in this standard?
Oh, there are enough.
Oh my god. I don't know, man. That's such a bold claim. We'll revisit it if Tajik and Aurelia come to fight each other. But
right. But
yeah,
such strong card.
Yeah. But Tajik is up against Niv-Mizzet.
Yeah. Let's look at what kind of tools they have, right? Because Tajik can give himself first strike.
Yep.
And as we all know, if you have an other card from Dominaria, that means he's giving himself double strike.
Oh, man.
That card I'm talking about is Quande, Pride of Femreth, which is 4-drop 2/2, passes Symphony test with double strike, and gives creature you control with first strike double strike. So you can pay 2 mana if you have the other card out. It's a 2-card combo. 2 mana double strike. We all know double strike is really strong. Really, really strong.
Oh, yeah.
And this is only 3 mana.
Is double strike good enough on Tajik? Only a 3/2.
I think if you mentor him enough, It'd be great.
Oh yeah, and
We
this guy gets it.
we are in the mentor deck.
We are in the mentor deck.
So we know that eventually things are going to grow out of control if they stick. And chances are they will stick because turn 1, 2, 3, most people are not doing anything. Your deck is already doing things, right? Turn 3 have 3 creatures out. And this creature drops on turn 3 with haste.
That is true.
Right. You're already doing something. Versus Niv-Mizzet, you may not even be able to cast this on 6th land. You can have 2 islands and 4 mountains, and you're still looking at your hand and be like, well, I can't do anything.
Yeah. I don't know. This is rough, dude. Like, I think Tajik's thing, his weakness, is he's got a weak body, only 2 health, or only 2 life, whatever, toughness.
Hey, he goes to the gym. Don't make fun of him.
He's only got 2 toughness. And his prevent damage clause is only on his on other creatures, not himself. So, it's not that he's gonna die in combat. It's like he dies to basically everything, though.
That's true.
So,
he dies really easily, unlike Aurelia. Aurelia 6 on the board, as well as Niv-Mizzet.
Yeah, and one advantage that Tajik has over Niv-Mizzet, though, is that Tajik is obviously, like you said, way more aggressive. Niv-Mizzet might just be sitting there looking stupid, like, my hand is nothing. But on the other hand, Niv-Mizzet does have access to red, which is a lot of early removal and can effectively deal potentially with Tajik's early aggression. And
that's true.
In the late game, if Niv-Mizzet can survive to it, I think Niv-Mizzet has the upper hand.
In the late game, Niv-Mizzet just wins.
Yeah. So
I think based on that, Niv-Mizzet actually wins this matchup because
I agree. Yeah, I think Tajik just isn't strong enough. It doesn't have the staying power,
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not the David that can defeat the Goliath.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give this to Niv-Mizzet.
Yep.
And that moves us to the round 3. Which is Vraska, Golgari Queen versus Trostani Discordant.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. We have the Golgari Queen, which we praised so highly, and Trostani, which we just straight out said is busted.
I think this might sound dumb. I think Trostani wins this one. I'm gonna cut right to the chase.
Not even a contest.
Okay.
I mean, dude, are you serious? Like,
well, Trostani can't even touch Trostani.
Yeah, no. Like, Trostani comes in the board with 3 bodies.
Yep.
That's already so hard to deal with.
Yep.
Vraska can only, Vraska can deal with the tokens.
Yeah.
So go for it. You can deal with the tokens.
Yep.
Vraska is not proactive enough.
Yeah, and then you're up against a swarm strategy anyways. So getting that ultimate in is already going to be difficult, enough. Like against swarm versus swarm. So even if you are able to create a few tokens yourself, you're up against another token deck. It's not like you're up against a blue-black control deck with only 1 or 2 blockers. And, no. I gotta give this one to Trostani. Trostani is just so busted. This is a dumb card.
Absolutely. This is a deck that I will build in Brawl for sure.
Yep. Happy to give this one to Trostani.
Speaking of a deck that I will build for sure, the other side, we have Aurelia versus Niv-Mizzet.
Ooh.
I'll let you guess which one I'll build for sure out of these 2.
Well, I mean, I know you're gonna build Aurelia. But now unlike the Tajik one, this one's I would say is at least closer.
Oh, much closer.
Much closer.
4-drop 4/5 and a 6-drop 5/5.
Yeah, and while both do have flying, Aurelia isn't going to die as easily to Niv-Mizzet's removal.
No. It does so much.
It does
so much on her own. And Tajik can be in the 59 to be her lieutenant.
Yeah, Aurelia can recruit the help of her dead ally.
Yeah. Taji can definitely.
I
Well,
would,
Taji can be mentored by Aurelia.
I would play Tajik in Aurelia deck. I'm not gonna lie. I would do
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, there's no question. They belong together. I mean, that's why they're in the same guild. That's why Aurelia is just so busted.
So, who do you think wins here?
I have favoritism against with Boros. Like Boros are my colors, so I'm gonna give it to Aurelia.
I'm also biased towards red white, but like I'm trying to be objective here. And once again, it's the same argument with Tajik though. Is if Niv Mizzet can make it to the late game successfully, then I think Aurelia, as strong as she is, she has a better chance than Tajik, but not as great of a chance.
Right.
So I don't know. Like this one for me personally is another coin flip. I think this is a coin flip. Like with Tajik, it was easy to say, yeah, I don't think Tajik's gonna get there. But Aurelia, I think Aurelia has a shot. So I would say this is probably a coin flip for me personally.
All right, fine. I'm fine with a coin flip.
All right, heads Aurelia, tails Niv Mizzet.
All right, go for it.
All right. All right. It looks like Aurelia moves on.
Oh my gosh. Go, girl.
Yep, Aurelia moves on. This is looking like a really aggressive, heavy top 4.
Yeah.
Or is it are we top 2 or top 4 already?
We are at the finals.
Oh, we're at the finals. This is looking like a really aggressive creature-based finals.
With Tristani versus Aurelia.
Oh,
do we want to go
goodness.
wide or do we want to go tall? That's the question we're trying to answer.
Both these creatures are just so amazing in their own right.
Oh yeah, and they do their things so well. Tristani is able to create so many creatures just by herself,
and then pump the rest of her board.
But don't forget, Tristani, her deck is all about convoking things. So
it is.
Well, it is the token strategy, and her guild's mechanic.
Yep,
is convoking. And what does that mean?
I think
let's look at some cards that she has access to, right?
Yeah.
I think the one card that deserves our attention is March of the Multitudes. X green white for an instance with Convoke. Creates X1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink.
And I think Amara also makes things with lifelink too.
She does.
So I think so just to get something straight here. In a late game situation, I think Tristani wins over Aurelia.
Yeah, because of the live game.
Yes, but the question is, can Tristani make it to the late game? She doesn't. They do have a lot of lifelink. There is a lot of lifelink. And due to being a token-based strategy, there are also plenty of opportunities for chump blockers to survive to the late game. But
yeah,
Aurelia, on the other hand, with the mentoring, the flying, you have burn. Like Aurelia, I'm not counting her out either. Both these creatures are simply amazing.
Yeah, they're both absolutely amazing. And for Aurelia, I think the card that we want to pay attention to, in the late game, you want to draw into a split card called Response and Resurgence. Now, Response is not really a card we're looking at. It costs Boros for an instance that deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. We want to look at Resurgence. 3 white for sorcery that says creatures you control gain first strike and vigilance until end of turn. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. If you manage to do this, now Aurelia becomes so gigantic over in the air because she ended up pumping herself twice.
That's devastating.
And you get to mentor twice on all your mentored creatures.
That is absolutely devastating.
You might be able to overrun the Tristani deck if you have that card.
I can't decide. I
like both decks.
I do.
Like both of these commanders are something that I'll be building around.
And this is just confirmation bias for me because I love Naya. So I love both. Like these, I would consider both of these like my quote unquote children. Like these are like can you really say like if you have 2 kids, can you really honestly say like yeah I like that kid more like without being like a horrible parent? Like I I can't, man. Like both of these are so good.
They're amazing. They are absolutely amazing, both of them. And I don't know.
I
don't
think
know.
I think we need a coin flip here.
I agree with you. They're both so powerful. And
I could give it to either of them.
I can definitely give it to either of them too, and I will not complain. Like whoever wins. And
All right.
we will definitely talk about what cards goes well with all these commanders, not just these 2, in detail next week. We'll go over all the good cards and maybe some of the bad cards.
All right. The faded coin flip.
Do we have the
Trostani
result?
versus Aurelia. Heads Trostani, tails Aurelia. Here we go.
Let's get some drum roll.
Trostani wins.
No, I'm just kidding. That's fine. Yeah. I honestly think it's really a coin toss. Even in the actual Brawl match,
it would be a coin toss.
It would be a 50-50. I think it's all depends on the card draw, the skill of the players to decide the fate of these match. I think I'm happy, man. I'm happy that the finals are Trostani versus Aurelia.
I was really actually worried that our finals wouldn't be that good because like we saw already some really good matchups earlier, like in just right in the first round. I'm like, wow, this could be like a good match. So I'm happy that we're not disappointed. This was truly, a good finals. What it should be, a 50-50.
This is a great brawling pit. And
now the question is, as Trostani, the now crowned champion of Return to Ravnica, can she beat the defending champion from last set?
Can she beat Daragus?
This is another tough one. Jund is really good.
Jund is amazing.
And with this new set, Jund is still very strong. I don't know. Jund is another strategy I really like.
And Daragus has good lieutenants too. Because like for example, you have Felfictus, which can just like Chaos Warp the Trostani deck.
And all those green black cards that we were talking about, those all get to go into Jund.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's all the green black cards. All the all of them, like Vraska,
the good Vraska, anyways. Yeah,
the good Vraska, Izoni, they all go into Jund. They all work well with him.
Oh man,
and I don't know whether or not
can the
Celestia Conclave beat Jund?
Well, here's one thing in favor of Celestia.
Mm-hmm.
Jund is losing all of its sweepers. It didn't have Hour of Devastation, and it doesn't. Now it's losing Bontu's Last Reckoning.
Oh yeah, there are no sweepers in that deck.
So now Jund has 0 sweepers.
They have a lot of target removal, which is really weak to our swarm strategy.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna give you to Trostani. I don't think it's a coin flip.
Yeah,
I think the Trostani deck.
I agree.
Legit beat Jund.
I agree. Yeah, like I think Jund is gonna have too hard of a time keeping up with Trostani's swarm strategy.
Yeah,
has been dethroned.
The new champion is Trostani Discordant.
I think it's well deserved.
I absolutely. I love this card. Part of me still hope it's Aurelia, but I don't think Aurelia can actually beat Daragus.
No,
I think it's up to Trostani.
I agree. I think Aurelia, while she's great, I don't think she could keep up with Jund's single target removal because that's what Jund does best.
Yeah, eventually Aurelia will run out of steam. Where Trostani, we have already seen the power.
Oh yeah,
it's tough for her to run out of steam when she's pumping out tokens turn after turn after turn.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. And since Jun doesn't have any sweepers, this is the perfect time.
Yep.
Man.
Build your Trostani decks, guys.
Yep.
I know I will.
Or
maybe we'll build one in the upcoming weeks. You don't know.
Or you can build Naya.
Or you can build Naya.
I'm gonna build
Who's the Naya commander? I don't know who's the Naya commander.
I don't know. But I'm gonna build Naya. There's always Joda.
There's sure, that's Joda. I think there's one more. I forgot. What's the other Naya commander?
But I'm probably building Naya. I love Naya.
You're building Naya. Oh. So Paladin Morris is Naya. Paladin Morris the Runer. Flying Vigilance Trample. It has hexproof. If it hasn't dealt damage yet. Is it one of those meme again where the commander isn't really a commander? It's just there so you can play the colors? Maybe.
I think it is.
Maybe. But anyways, I think that's it for the week. I think this has been a great episode.
This week was really exciting for me. I got to see a bunch of new cards I hadn't seen before, and we got such a stellar performance all the way up to the end, with Darius finally being dethroned by Trostani.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's well deserved. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to us on our social medias. Our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube is Brawling Pit. You can find us on Reddit at r/Brawling Pit. Email us at brawlingpitmtg@gmail.com, or you can visit our official website at brawlingpit.com. As always, I've been Johnathan, and he's been Jacob. See you guys next time. So Jacob, have you heard of the World Championship news?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so as of the recording of this video, this is really new. This is like breaking news. But Gary Thompson refused to play at the 2018 World Championship because he's protesting the treatments by Wizards of the Coast of Magic professional players. Yeah. What he specifically said, like his specifically key complaints is that Wizards needs to increase their level of support or respect for professional Magic players. And he actually sees three main ways that Wizards is failing as pros right now. Number one is the lack of a living wage. Number two is poor communication. And number three, which is virtually no promotion. And he is saying that being a professional Magic player isn't enough to pay the bills at all, unless they win at a Pro Tour, which happens only once every Pro Tour. And the pros are, they're reaching into their own pocket to travel to Pro Tour. So it's a very expensive activity already. And there's just no incentive to do this unless, it's your hobby.
It's tough. Because I was kind of associated with that.
Yeah.
I saw lots of friends.
Let's talk about his other 2 points first, and then we'll talk about what we want to do. I mean, what we think. His other point is that Wizards they don't communicate well with his pros. So what that means is, there are many bad experiences that competitors had, in the lead up to the 2018 World Championship, because Wizards made the players arrive early on Tuesday, even though there were no commitments until Thursday, and they told the players about this requirement extremely late. And it just seems like Wizards are not really respecting the pro players' time. They're not telling them, hey, show up early, way before, right? People have already booked their tickets and whatnot. They already have their whole routine and itinerary planned. But Wizards, super late in the process, tell them, oh, you need to show up 2 days early. like on top of that, Wizards send players like 9 emails of varying importance, right? Like each email are saying different things, and you don't know which one to really, go with.
Yeah.
Some people are missing requirements, some people are not RSVPing. Like there is a deadline of RSVPing guests, and some people miss that. And there's just like a huge communication problem, at least in this like 2018 World Championship. But that's not all, right? Because Wizards don't promote its pros or its events. Like most of us, until this news hits the spotlight, didn't know that 2018 World Championship happened this weekend. Did you?
I wasn't even aware it was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't know it happened. I mean, Wizards knew. Like the people who runs websites that talks about Magic news, like they know. The pros know, but like the general Magic players, like we don't know. Like no one told me to tune in to watch the stream or something. No one did that, and that's the third thing that Thompson has against this whole thing, and he is worried. It's worth noting that like he's not the only pro player that is disappointed of the Wizards lack of promotion, but
He's just the one that spoke up about it.
Yeah, he's the one who was speaking up about it, and he's the one who was now protesting. I mean, he protested and not played for the event. So that dropped the World Championship player count from 24 to 23.
That would definitely mess with it.
Yeah, that definitely messed with it. But what do you think about his viewpoints?
I agree with all of them. 2 out of 3 of them, I definitely hold Wizards responsible for, and one of them. Well, I mean, you can probably hold them responsible for all of them, but like one of them I can understand, but that's not an excuse. Like they should still try to be better. They've been doing this for 20 plus years now. You would think they've got their act together by this point. So, the one where I kind of don't blame them is promotion. Like they've got a hard, they've got a hard problem to tackle. Like, how do you promote to someone that may not even like look at your website or your social medias on a regular basis? Like, how do you promote to them? It's really hard because like maybe the most interaction you get with them is through your product that they buy at the store. Like that's it. So that can be difficult, and unless they want to start like spending a lot of money on other advertising methods, like it's gonna be hard to reach them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I do know what they're saying, but like they can, So let's bring in other games as an example. For example, I know that the same weekend, is World of Warcraft Arena Championship. Because Blizzards has been spamming us with
like,
these posts and everywhere.
But the difference though is that you're connected digitally, right? And so they can patch those in like instantly through your patcher or even the game itself. They can run announcements on those. Magic can't do that because it's a physical thing.
What's preventing them to, print out posters and send to local game stores? Things they already do.
They what?
They already print posters and have local game stores put them out. Why can't they print the event poster?
Right, they do that, but like that like unless they have to do that, or they need to dig really deep into like advertising funds if it's not posters or advertising through the LGS. And unfortunately to say, a lot of Magic players don't go to LGS. Like majority of Magic players probably in their estimates. So I'm gonna go off of this figure, 20 million, because that's what the most recent figure they said was 20 million players worldwide. All right, they were counting kitchen table players in that, and
sure.
So like in that majority, like over 10 million of those players do not go to LGS. So now you're already like I'm gonna be generous. All right, so now you're already limiting your target segment to 10 million people worldwide. So
sure.
you have to basically advertise through LGS or like through your products, like in your booster packs.
Okay.
So, um, and even then, I would question the effectiveness of that advertisement. But like, yes, they could be doing better than that, and I think they should have gotten their act together by now. This has been, so many years where they have not been doing the best in promoting their pros. I think, and this is with the other two, they really need to foster and care and support and nurture their pro scene, which they aren't doing. They're kind of shooting themselves in the foot here because um these pros, like, they need them. The pros need Wizard support, and Wizards needs the pros. They might not think they do, but they do.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's a symbiosis relationship.
yeah,
They
because
need to work together.
they have to work together. They need each other. Because the reason why Wizards needs the pros are because without pros, um or like a high level competition, how do you create that excitement and hype around these big pro tour events, which
Right.
players can look at and they get to showcase the new cards, the new interactions, and due to Magic the Gathering's like random nature, you need a lot of pros. Like you
You
can't just
do.
have like a couple. You need a
And
lot.
like even on top of that, Wizards has been getting they have been employing people who are successful at these pro magic scene for years. That's how they handle their hiring process
Yep.
into their development team.
Yep.
And like if no one participates in these, if no one good wants to participate in these events,
Yeah, then they're shooting themselves in the foot for future employments and future sets. Like this is a very Wizards' behavior in not supporting the pros is a very short-sighted behavior, and I absolutely agree that they needed to get their act together very very much long ago.
mm. What do you think about the living wage thing?
That is also, it goes into the same thing with the other supporting the pros kind of thing. I'm not saying they need to live extravagant lifestyles. They don't need to live like the 100K salary type of lifestyle like modern esports do. That would be great if they could. I think that would bring a lot of people into the game. But like the fact of the matter is, you can't just tell a company, yeah, go raise enough capital to support, all these players' salaries, like 100K lifestyle salary. It doesn't happen. And even the other esports, like Riot Games, they don't even pay them 100K salaries. They only pay them like 50K salaries, but they have other means of income. But
Yeah,
Riot
which is
supplements
good
that.
enough.
Yeah, but even for Wizards, with even though yes, they're a subsidiary of Hasbro, but Wizards can't just go to Hasbro, which by the way, Hasbro is very large. Um, like Wizards can't just go to Hasbro and say, "Hey, we need money. Like we want to pay a bunch of pros a bunch of money, and we're probably not going to receive a return on that benefit for many
It
years."
should come right out of their marketing budget.
Yes, and Wizards. I think Wizards counts as like a medium sized company. Um, I don't think they're not huge like the big giant corporations, but they're not small either. So I think they count as a medium sized business. They just probably don't have the budget to shell out 50K salaries for all their pros.
Sure.
Um, but at the same time, what they're doing now is also not enough. Like
Okay.
they need like if you can support the players enough so that they don't have to worry about finance, they don't have to worry about how am I going to pay to get to this next event, they don't have to worry. If you take that off their mind, they can focus on playing the game. And if they're playing the game, they're promoting the game for you, and that is a good relationship to have.
Okay. So
I,
we know why it's good, to
yep.
promote the pro players and why it might be good to give them, some money. How like what can they do now to move towards that goal? Like you've said that they probably don't have the budget. Like what do you think they can do right now? What's an
Magic is in
actionable advice?
yeah yeah. Magic is in a really tough state. It is. Magic is in a very dire state right now. Um, I think what I might consider, like, let's say and this is also like with not all the information, because Wizards has all the information and I don't have everything. I might look towards restructuring the pro scene such that I'm able to have enough pros so that consistently they'll appear at the top level, right? And the best of the best shouldn't really have that much trouble, but at the end of the day, Magic can be kind of random, admittedly. And I would pay them enough so that they can support themselves, and even if I couldn't pay them enough in like cash, there are other ways to support them.
Oh, there are.
Like bartering or like promoting their streams or
So I think one way that Wizards can definitely help the pros out, help them with sponsors, because Wizards has huge connections.
Yep, that's another thing. There's a lot of things they can do, even if it's not literally giving them cash. They could be helping the pros out way more.
Talk to Ultra Pro. Have your pros wear uniforms with Ultra Pro logo on it, and help them get paid. Things like that. Like a lot of other games are doing that. Like the Overwatch USA team has T-Mobile's logo on their chest.
Yeah, and I think if they approach Hasbro and ask, hey, we need help with connections, instead of approaching Hasbro with, hey, we need money, they would be way more inclined to be helpful. Like, and Hasbro, as we've said, they're giant. They're one of the biggest companies in the world, so they definitely
There are people that Hasbro can definitely talk to.
Yeah,
like dude, Transformer has partnered with Nike before, I'm sure. Like, talk to Nike, make some uniforms.
So it doesn't. They don't even have to literally just give them cash. Like, I think they should probably get some sort of salary, but it doesn't. You don't need to pay them like that much. If you can also set them up with non-monetary help where they can get the money themselves, but you're helping them a lot.
Right. Exactly. So I think like those are some good actionable advice for the money problem and for the support problem. Now the problem of the communication, I think I think there's a relatively easy solution to this.
Okay, this is gonna sound a little mean, but I think it's sad that Wizards is still having this issue, because companies nowadays spend a lot of money on systems and softwares that reduce like email clutter. In the modern workforce. You probably have this software or someone does at work, or maybe not software, but system, where it's like, okay, we should only send out like this email, and then all this other information maybe gets passed along some other way. Because if you send your employees like 10 emails, a lot of information is going to get lost in those 10 emails.
Yeah, like one of the number one hurdle I've learned in the workforce, and also back at school when I was in business writing class, the first thing they taught us, and something that I experienced after working for so long, is you do not want to send back and forth emails. 2, maybe okay, like you made a mistake on email 1, you are correcting that mistake on email 2 to clarify, that's fine.
Yep.
The third one is kind of bad.
Yep.
You're at 9 at the Worlds event. No one is gonna read those 9 emails.
Yeah, or even if they do, it's gonna be like a skim, like yeah, and then like there'll be like one important line. Maybe it's not even. It won't even be like in fine print, like one size. Maybe it'll be like big bold letters. But if they're like scrolling through and skimming it on their phone or whatever, they're gonna miss it.
Yeah, like no one is going to read your emails. None of your messages is gonna get across. I think the solution is pretty simple for this one. You can, number one, either provide some training to at least your communication staff, so they don't make mistakes like this again. This is like really simple. Like, don't do this.
Companies have spent a lot of money fixing this mistake.
Yeah, so simple training, or just, hey, here's a list of things not to do, and number 1, bullet point, big words, big fonts.
Yep.
Don't send more than 3 emails in a row. And bad practice.
And this isn't even just like related to Magic pros either. Like, I think this is a worthwhile development for Wizards to enact, because it'll make their internal health better as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if they're treating the pros like this with 9 emails, I don't even want to know how many emails the internal workers had to deal with.
Yeah, geez. Like, I'm sure there's some kind of quality check when the email actually goes out externally.
Ye-
I don't want to know internally what's happening right now.
Yeah,
Like,
holy cow! Like it shouldn't be happening though. It's unacceptable.
yeah. But luckily, like, it sounds like this is like training is the easiest fix of
Yeah.
the three. Like, of the three advice, I think the training is the most actionable. And if you want like an even faster fix, just hire a different community manager. I'm sorry for the last one who sent out 9 emails, but you made the mistake.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at, and it's tough to really get more specific than that because all we have is like third-hand information or second-hand
Yeah.
information. Sorry,
Yeah.
because I don't work at Wizards, and
Oh, I
and
don't.
I have an acquaintance that works at Wizards, but he can't really say anything. 'Cause, it's tough.
Yep.
It's tough, and it's also I don't think maybe the communication thing is, but I don't think it's also just one person's fault either.
Yeah.
Like this is just I think it.
I mean,
as
yeah, maybe I was a little bit too harsh of saying, "Hey, replace that person." It could be like multiple person. Like the person who sent out the email might have received bad information on her own or
Yeah.
on his own, like multiple times. Like she could be getting back and forth emails like in the mailbox.
Yeah.
We don't know. So
and like with the pros in supporting them, like I'd like to hope that maybe this topic came up before already. I'm really, really hopeful that they brought this up already, but maybe they haven't. But I'm gonna choose to have faith in Wizards that they did, and maybe like it was one of those type of meetings where it's like, yeah, this is a problem, and we need to fix it, and we know it's a problem, and like nobody could agree on anything, and then just kind of like got swept to the side as new projects came in and more important projects came in.
yeah,
and
that
never
kind
really
of meetings
resulted.
happen in
Yeah.
the corporate world.
So,
a lot.
Like that's also possible. So I don't think any of this is just one person's problem, but it's even though even that with that said, the organization has failed as a whole.
Yeah.
So hopefully they fix
So,
it soon because
hopefully they fix it. Wizards, if you're listening, please fix
they're
it.
not. They're not fixed. They're not listening. Feels bad.
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Anyways, that was the long sign off.
Yep.
That
I think
probably
that's
could
a
have been
pretty
an
good sign
entire
off.
episode on its own.
Yeah, but I think it is a pretty good sign off. I like
That
it.
literally could wait. That literally could have been an entire episode on its own.
It could be.
Oh my god.
Do you want to make that an episode? We can make that happen.
Let's make